Jiminy Christmas. Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. Dear God, what a start. So this is, we're switching gears here. I haven't done one of these kind of episodes since Eddie Van Halen died. And I'm kicking myself because one of my biggest passions is music. So we're doing another jacked up jukebox. And as you can see, we are doing that's the topic right now. 40 years of Anthrax. And yeah. Front row Bill here. You're just too darn loud. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. It's a great line from a great movie. So here's the goal going forward is I want to do more of these, get back to doing these on a regular basis. And I've done these on and off for the last 8 years, and not all of them have been necessarily branded the Jacked Up Jukebox, but there is a playlist on the channel all dedicated to music, whether it's tributes, 30-year, and I did a ton of 30-year anniversaries of, different bands that I love and stuff. Of course, Sabby here is so excited. He just had to come along on the ride for this one. So he's going to hang out here. Aren't you, Sabby? All right. And I also wanted to show off, of course, he had to sit right in front of my monitor as I'm doing this, showing off the new Smash This Podcast merch that I just got today. Super stoked for it. The coffee mug. Hang on. Let's grab this coffee mug because this is pretty dope. And as you can see, I got some other figs back here. I'm not going to reveal what those are quite yet. That'll be for another episode in the future of the Jacked Up Jukebox. But here we go. Here it is, the retro logo of Smash This Podcast on this lovely coffee mug. And I spent a couple extra bucks, got an extra logo put on the other side of it. Customize. That's a great thing about my merch store is you can customize your stuff. And my wife also got a shirt and got that customized. And the back says Hubby's Podcast. Talk about a wife that supports your stuff. So check out all the links in the description. Like I said, the merch link is down below. The Discord, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also buymeacoffee.com if you want to tip the podcast as well. Audio is at anchor.fm/smash this podcast. Are you okay? You gonna chill back there? All right. So Sabby's gonna hang out back there. I don't know what's going on with my camera. I think it's the cat. Cat's giving the camera the heebie-jeebies. So, let's talk a little Anthrax. They're celebrating 40 years. And in the world of heavy metal, a band that's lasted that long, that's pretty damn incredible. So I just wanted to come on here, share some love for the band. It's been one of my favorite heavy metal bands since I was a wee little bone. And that's part of what I wanted to come on here and talk about is, personal experiences, where I saw them live, stuff like that. So I know that they're doing some kind of online concert coming up this coming weekend, I believe. Streaming, and hopefully that will lead to a 40th anniversary tour down the road. I know some bands have been very leery about hitting the road. Some are just, just, pardon the pun, the Anthrax title, gung ho. Some are just so gung ho to get out there. But other ones, like the stadium tour featuring Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, and such, they're waiting till next year. Deftones and Gojira, they just postponed their tour till 2022. So not everybody is gangbusters about getting back out there because the pandemic is far from over. It certainly has gotten better, though. I'll say that much. So, Street Walking Cheetah. That is a name that I am not familiar with. So welcome. Lifelong Anthrax fan, been watching the 40th series, pretty damn entertaining. Yeah, let's talk about that because that is something that really inspired me to get on here and talk about that. If you are a fan of the band and love their music and want to, just say, for lack of better words, educate yourself a little on the history of the band and see what it was like, recording back, 40 years ago when the band started and whatnot, and see other band members that were, featured. Oh my God, cat, are you okay? It's like my cat is like caught in a mosh. But oh man. So you good? All right. So yeah, if you want to find out more about the band Anthrax, go check out their YouTube channel. And I think it's also, there's a few different YouTube channels that's been featuring this. Megaforce Records, which is what they're on right now, I believe. Charlie Benante, the drummer, has also been sharing these videos, but it's also on the Anthrax YouTube channel. And they've been going through bit by bit, like one a week. I believe it's like one a week. So the last, oh God, I don't know how many weeks. I'm up to like episode 20 something. And they're not shy about talking about who used to be in the band and what happened. They're certainly keeping most of it positive, no matter how rough the situation was or nothing. There's no, oh yeah, this former member is, F this band, they kicked me out. No, there's none of that. It's all pretty smooth sailing, pretty much just, love for where they came from and positive that they were part of the band. Especially, learning about former members who were in like that first few years of the band, like Danny Lilker, who went on to be in Nuclear Assault. And, stuff like that I just didn't know. Like I had a comic book that was all about the history of the band that went up to about Persistence of Time. But I couldn't even tell you where my comic books are right now. So, and I know it went over that bit of history, but in a little comic book, it was so quick. It was like a couple pages here and there, or whatever. So yeah, go check out that YouTube series. Really good stuff. Me personally, and I was thinking about this recently, as in like last week when I'm watching some of the episodes talking about Among the Living, which is their third or fourth CD, whatever it is. And this is like, that came out in like 86, 87. And I've got these memories of hanging out with friends in my old neighborhood. I grew up on the north side of Milwaukee, okay, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I go over to my friend's house, my friends, and I don't, these guys will probably never see this video, but the guys I'm talking about that used to grow up, uh, this I'm talking about the neighborhood right off of like 68th and Capitol. It's like just north of there is where I grew up, that whole neighborhood there. And I'm talking about like Chris Nelson, Ryan Nelson, and Jay Schrader. They were all in the same house on the corner, and I'd go and I'd primarily hang out with Chris and Ryan. And it went from like hanging out and talking about pop music, and then it like went into like rock music when I started getting into like Rat and Motley Crue and that kind of stuff in the mid 80s ish. And then all of a sudden, like I always rode around the neighborhood in my BMX bike. But I know that Chris and Ryan were into like the skateboarding scene, which I was never that, I was never the athletic type to do physical stuff like that. Like I rode my bike all over southeastern Wisconsin, but I was never one to like skateboard, roller skate, that kind of stuff. I just wasn't that talented. So along with becoming part of the skateboarding scene, and I don't remember, how they were introduced to it, but they introduced the band Anthrax to me then. And they, I remember Chris brought me down in his basement. We'd hang out in his basement, and he had this little like boom box, about this big, and we'd play cassette tapes on there. And we hang out in his, his apartment when his parents weren't home, and we'd crank some tunes or whatever, play some records. Back when records were still popular. I mean, they're kind of coming back. There's some retro. I see more and more people buying records now, which is actually pretty cool. It's a different, it's a different kind of product than, say digital or CDs or whatever. No X Games for J-Bo. No, I loved watching them on TV, but I never, no. The most physical I got back in those years where I'd climb trees by my house. That was it. I'd fall out of them most of the time. But I was not an athletic kid. I just wasn't. Played a little softball in grade school. That's it. I was just a heavy metal kid. That's it. So I remember, and it's all real fuzzy. So I'm kind of winging it here, talking about this memory. But Chris bringing me downstairs in his basement, popping this tape in. Now, mind you, like I said, we used to hang out and listen to like either pop music or rock music, or at the heaviest, like hard rock music, like Crew, or whatever was, whatever was popular in the mid 80s. He puts on some Anthrax, Among the Living, and he is just, his mind was just blown. And the way he was describing this, he's like, dude, this is the next evolution. And I'm like paraphrasing here. So He's like, this is like the next evolution of hard rock, heavy metal. And he turned this on, and I was just like, what is this? And he's playing. I'm just reading off some titles here that I remember us, hanging out. Caught in a Mosh, I Am the Law, Effelnick, NFL, they had to spell it. This is funny, they had to spell it backwards back then, Effelnick and Pheasant. And they say that in the song, but you play it, you say it the other way, and it's Nice Fucking Life. And that was like, oh my God, what is this? Indians. Oh man, so many good tunes on here. Among the Living, of course. And so just and that they really turned me on to Anthrax back then. Like even before I was listening to stuff like Metallica, as far as like real heavy metal, like thrash metal. So as far as bands that I can relate to, as far as like the first bands that I loved, as far as like the real, what you would call heavy metal, because like there's a billion different genres, I just call it, heavy metal, thrash metal, whatever. But yeah, Anthrax goes way back to like 85, 86 for me. And just when my friends introduced me to that just was like, wow. I mean, it took me a while to like, get into it, because it was such a change from what I normally listen to. I was like, what is this? It was so dark and so heavy and so fast. But, between the fast drums, the fast guitars, and Joey screaming, oh my God, it just blew my mind. Just was like, man, this is crazy. And Streetwalking Jesus is definitely the most unique of the big four bands, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely inspirational as far as, and they evolved a lot throughout the years, and then, even like a few years later, they got rid of Joey and got John Bush in the band. And I even love that stuff. Like, I love all their stuff. I've never been like, oh no, I'm only going to listen to the Joey stuff and I don't like the John Bush stuff. No, like when it evolved, I kept following them. I mean, they were one of the few bands that really held the heavy metal flag going throughout the 90s, because man, hard rock heavy metal really took a dive in the 90s. It really did. With grunge, that really took over the whole rock scene. And the few bands like Pantera and Anthrax waving the flag for heavy metal, man, they kept it going. They really did. And I can say the one time that I saw Anthrax live, that's still on my bucket list to go see them live with Joey, as far as, majority of the classic lineup, as close as we're going to get today, without, spits and whatever. John Bush was singing. It was mid to late 90s. And it wasn't the Great Southern Trendkill tour. It was the tour supporting the live CD that came out after that from Pantera. And they brought Anthrax out with them. And I don't even know what they were supporting as far as music at the time. I don't think it was We Come For You All. That was much later. But holy crap! How have you never seen him live with Joey? But that was just personal taste. Like there's very few like super heavy metal bands that I've seen live. Like live, I've never been like physical, like in the mosh pit and moshing and caught in the mosh. I've never been that type of guy. I've always just hung way back and just watched all the chaos. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping. I know they've been to town here a billion times. Um, I'm slowly but surely getting back out to doing stuff in public. I know Rat's coming to town like this next week. I'm thinking about going to see them. Where are they going to be at? The Waukesha County Fair, wherever. And I never been to that one. 97, 98-ish on the Pantera tour, I think. Yeah. That sounds about right. It was right before they, kind of broke up. I think something like that. A couple years later, they broke up. I think they put out like one more CD, and then that was it. But Anthrax I remember just digging it. I think they did something goofy. Trying to remember. I think they might have done like a House of Pain song or something. Or maybe they did Bring the Noise. I can't remember. They did something and just got the whole place bouncing. I saw them. Where the hell did I see them? It was downtown Milwaukee at one of the smaller arenas. And I can't remember who the hell else was on that tour. I'd have to go look in one of my old scrapbooks because I used to keep scrapbooks on all that stuff. No DeMartini, no Rat. Come on. No, I hear you. I just they're one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. No, it wasn't Exodus. It was some other. Yeah, I'd have to look. I don't know. There might have been one or two other bands. I forget. But yeah, and then they brought back Joey, and did the whole Big Four thing, which was just mind blowing. I really wish that was able to tour more, with the exception of just like they did one date in Europe and then they did one or two dates in the States. They did like a New York stadium, and then I think they did something on the West Coast. Something. I know I bought the DVD. I got it around here somewhere. And I think that was one of the first times that I really started to appreciate just like all of them together. Like I was never that much into Slayer. I liked some Slayer here and there, but I was never one to like, buy all their stuff. I never seen them live. Fortunately, now they're done. I can't see them live no more. So whatever I have for DVDs and whatever on YouTube, that's all I'm going to see them. So, but yeah, just wanted to get on here and talk about my love for Anthrax and how I got to, become a fan of theirs, and just share some personal stuff, and that's about it. And for anybody watching the replay of this, let me know what's your let me know what's your favorite Anthrax stuff. Does it go back to the classics from like 30, 40 years ago, or do you like some of their more recent stuff? I think their recent stuff actually holds up really good. And even the John Bush stuff, man, I just it's just just out of arm's reach, I just bought the new Armored Saint, and oh, it's so good. Um, I've always dug Armored Saint, and I became a fan of them right before John Bush joined Anthrax. So, what was it? Symbol of Salvation came out in 90, 91, whatever it was. So that's like 30 years old now, too. Damn. So, in listening to that and becoming a fan of them, and then John Bush joining when Joey left or got kicked out or whatever you want to call it. To me, that was just a natural evolution. And it worked. It worked, and I'm sure there were people that were really upset, and Anthrax wasn't their cup of tea no more. But I still felt like the music really, it still represented their old school sound, but it evolved at the same time. It really did. And gosh, you have to look at how many bands that are still around today, and they evolved throughout the years. So yeah, love me some Anthrax. I've been listening to a lot of them lately. Let me know what your favorite stuff is from them. And let me know what you think of the 40th anniversary YouTube series that they're doing now, talking about each, like all the band members talking about their history with the band, recording the music, touring. It's a really well done series. The fact that they get so many people involved in this. Hell, they even get Keanu Reeves talking about being in a video of Anthrax's, what was that, Safe Home? In fact, some of those videos they're re-releasing on their YouTube channel, which is great to see, because I got a feeling that some people just never saw it, because MTV was so weird back then and didn't show much stuff. So yeah, that's it for this. I know it's super late, but I kind of felt it was like proper to do it super late. Kind of like, Headbangers Ball was always on late night on MTV. God, I'm really dating myself now. But so yeah, that's it for this one. Much love, everyone. And like I said, I'm going to do my best to do this more often and share some stories and not always informative, do maybe more like what I did right now, talking about just personal experiences, seeing bands live, that kind of stuff, because what's, what do we have? We only have our memories, right? So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Much love, everyone. We will see you down the road for the next one. Take care.